And Olaf sat there thinking, what am I going to do? How will I make him come? It was their wedding day at last. And as the night went on, Gudrun and Olaf looked more and more anxious. Some of the guests noted it and said helpful advice like, "Oh, don't worry, your wedding day's not so very bad. You may even enjoy it, Gudrun." But Gudrun and Olaf just looked blacker yet. It was around 11 o'clock, when far off, it seemed, they heard a storm. And the storm grew, and through the wind they heard a sound like thunder. And the thunder seemed to have a rhythmic beat to it. Perhaps it was the steppings of a giant. And it came closer and closer, and now surely it was in the compound. And now surely it was just in front of their door. And with a great icy blast, the storm winds blew in the door, and there, standing in front of them, was a mighty figure, a cliff troll of a man, with black brows and bald head. And he said, "I have come, Gudrun, my dear, to your wedding, as I was invited." But Gudrun, she replied,
"Welcome, mighty Egil Skallagrimsson.
Welcome, my dear.
Welcome on my wedding day. We have prepared a special hall and decorated it solely for you to entertain whatever spirits or guests you think fit, for it is my wedding day, and it is not fit that the dead be entertained in the same house as the living."
"Where is this hall of yours?"
"Olaf will show you the way."
And Olaf got up, quaking with fear. But somehow, between the gaze of the ghost of Egil Skallagrimsson and the gaze of Gudrun his wife, and on his wedding day, he found bravery, and with it, wisdom. He crossed the hall, and Egil turned to him with a smile and said, "Lead on." But Olaf said, "Oh no, you are the guest and I'm the host, and you know what we must do. We must link arms and walk across the courtyard as if we be friends, according to the customs of these parts." And so it was that Olaf linked arms with the ghost of mighty Egil Skallagrimsson, and they crossed the hall as if they were across the courtyard as if they were friends. Then they came to the hall that had been built, and Egil turned to him and said, "This is a new hall, is it not? And you know the custom of the past of these parts. I am the guest, and you're the host, so you will have to go in and light the lantern bright." But Olaf, he replied, "It's true, that is the custom of these parts, on all days except a man's wedding day. On that day alone the guest must go in first and light the lantern bright." And so it was that the ghost of Egil Skallagrimsson went into the hall and lit the lantern, and then he turned with a horrible smile on Olaf and said, "But now, my friend, according to the custom of these parts, you must come in and drink a toast to your wedding day with me, your guest." But Olaf, he replied, "Oh, that is the custom of these parts, but a greater custom is that a man may drink with none but his bride upon his wedding day." And so saying, Olaf stepped right back from the threshold. He drew the gate shut, the lock snap with a key, and the lock snapped tight. And Olaf went back to the hall where Gudrun was waiting, and all the guests were silent. And Gudrun looked up at him inquiringly, and he smiled and nodded. And then Gudrun stood up and said,
"A toast to Gudrun, to Olaf, and to the mighty Egil Skallagrimsson."
"To the mighty Egil Skallagrimsson," as if he had indeed been an honoured guest. And then she bid her guests depart, and they went home. And it was the next morning. Olaf woke up a bit late, and he woke Gudrun up and said, "Are we going to go then? Are we going to go and check, see if he's still there?"
"No, of course not, Olaf. It's far too early."
3 times Olaf turned during the course of the morning and said, "Are we going to go?"
"No, Olaf, we must wait till the sun is high in the sky."
And every so often Olaf found himself being drawn, as if by magic, as if unknowing, towards the hall where the ghost of Egil Skallagrimsson was. And he always said it was one of the bravest things he ever did, to force himself to sit in the corner of his hall, all huddled up, fidgeting, until noon, and Gudrun came before him and said,
"It is time now, Olaf. We may go."
And she got the key and the little pouch full of coins, and the pair of them went across the courtyard to the hall, and Gudrun unlocked it. Olaf opened the door and made ready to go in.
Olaf! No!
What? And he looked on the ground, and there was a curiously drawn board. Gudrun, she said,
"Do you not see? Egil was and remains a mighty sorcerer. If for one moment you had trodden on that rune or anywhere near it, you would have been dragged down into his power, into his netherworld."
"What are we going to do? How will we ever escape it? By only inviting my wedding?"
"Leave this to me, Olaf. I must stay here, and you must go back to the hall."
And so, very unwilling, Olaf stepped back, closed the door, while Gudrun, she clinked the coins. Olaf stayed in his hall, pacing up and down until evening time, when Gudrun came by. Opening the hall, she said,
"It is done. It is over. I do not believe we will be troubled by the mighty Egil Skallagrimsson any longer."
And nor they were. But Olaf and Gudrun? Well, in Gudrun's words,
You learned always to take my advice.
And so it was, perhaps, that they were the happiest married couple in all of Iceland.